Hello, this is Srinivas and I am going to tell regarding the project management. The main objectives of this topic are to explain the main tasks undertaken by the project managers, introduce the software project management and to describe its distinctive characteristics, discuss the project planning and the planning process, discuss the different types of risks and the risk management process. The topics to be covered are management activities, project planning, project scheduling, risk management. The different management activities are proposal writing, project planning and scheduling, project costing, project monitoring and reviews, person selection and evaluation, report writing and presentations. Next, we will consider the project staffing. It may not be possible to appoint the ideal people to work on a project because the first reason is project budget may not allow for the use of highly paid staff. Staff with the appropriate experience may not be available. And the third one is the managers have to work within these constraints, especially when there are shortages of trained staff. Next is the project planning. It is the most time consuming project management activity, and it is the continuous activity from initial concept through to system delivery. The plans must be regularly revised as new information becomes available. The various different types of plans may be developed. The different types of project plan are quality plan, validation plan, configuration management plan, maintenance plan, and the staff development plan. Let us discuss one by one. The quality plan describes the quality procedures and standards that will be used. Validation plan, it describes the approach, resources and schedule used for the system validation. Configuration management plan, it describes the configuration management procedures and structures to be used. Maintenance plan, it predicts the maintenance requirements of the system, maintenance cost and effort required. And the staff development plan, which describes how the skills and experience of the project team members will be developed. Project scheduling. The project scheduling splits up the project into the tasks and estimate the time and resources required to complete each task. It organizes the task concurrently to make optimal use of the workforce, minimize the task dependencies to avoid delays caused by one task waiting for another to complete. It dependent on project manager's experience. The project scheduling process is divided into different activities. The first activity is identifying the activity. Second one is identify activity dependencies. Third one is estimate the resources for activities. Fourth one is allocate people to activities. And the fifth one is creating project chart. Next we will consider the risk management. The risk management is concerned with identifying different risks and drawing up the plans to minimize their effect on a project. A risk is probability that some adverse circumstances will occur. There are different types of risks. First one is the project risks, which affects the schedule or resources. Second one is the product risks that affect the quality or performance of the software being developed. Third one is the business risks that affects the organization developing or procuring the software. There are different types of software risks and the effects listed here. The first one is the staff turnover is one of the kind of the risk, and the effect is the project. It may affect the projects because the experienced staff will leave the project before it is finished. And you can see the different types of risks and their effects with their descriptions. The risk management process. The risk management process is also divided into different activities. The first activity is the risk identification. In the risk identification, we need to identify the project, product and business risks. The second activity is the risk analysis. In this stage, it is used to assess the consequences of these risks and the effect of the risk. Risk planning. The plans are drawn up to minimize the effects of the risks by following some risk avoidance strategies. The last activity is the risk monitoring, where we need to monitor the risks throughout the project. Here there is a risk management process which consists of different activities like risk identification. In that we need to identify the potential risks, list out the potential risks. The second activity is risk analysis, where we need to give the priority for the risks that we have listed. Next activity is the risk planning. So we need to follow some risk avoidance and contingency plans, or we can say it as a different strategies we need to adopt it to avoid the risks. The last activity is the risk monitoring, where assessment of the risk is carried out. First is the risk identification, where we need to identify different types of risk which is related to technology, people, organization risks, requirements risks, or which is related to the estimation risks. Risks and risk types. There are different types of risks and possible risks I have listed here. Technology risk, where the database used in the system cannot process as many transactions per second as expected. The second type is the people. The possible risk is it is possible to request staff with the skills required. Key staffs are ill and unavailable at critical times. Required training for staff is not available. So these are some of the kinds of the risk and the possible risk type and the possible risks listed. Risk analysis. Assess the probability and seriousness of each risk. The probability may be very low, moderate, high, or very high. The risk effects might be catastrophic, serious, tolerable, or insignificant. Risk analysis. Here there are some of the risks and the probability and effects are listed. The first risk we'll consider, that is organization financial problems which force reduction in the project budget. The probability is low and the effect is catastrophic. And then we can consider the key staff are ill at critical times in the project. The probability is moderate but the effect is the serious. Risk monitoring. Risk monitoring is concerned with assessing each identified risks regularly to decide whether or not it is becoming less or more probable. Also assess whether the effects of the risk have changed. Each key risk should be discussed at management progress meetings. Risk indicator. There are some potential indicators to identify the risks. The risk type we can consider it as a technology. The potential indicators are late delivery of hardware or software, many reported technology problems. Second one we can consider people, poor staff morale, poor relationships amongst the team members, and the job availability. So these are some of the potential indicators for the risk type. Thank you.